Hey everyone, welcome back to Vic's Garage. Today I got a little bit more maintenance to do on the Ram truck. If you watched the latest video regarding the Blue Driver review, you know that I have an error code with my three-way coolant valve. So I've got a nice warm day right now, and this is my chance to take advantage of it and get this done without having to freeze. So let's get to it. I'm going to show you guys how to replace this valve. It's a common problem with these trucks. Essentially this valve, as you can see, it controls the direction of the coolant between like the heater core and the transmission, I believe, to help everything warm up and get to optimal temperatures faster. So when it fails, it fails in the open position. It doesn't necessarily affect the operation of the truck itself, but yeah, it's a pretty common problem. So if you have one of these trucks, you're probably gonna have to replace this on your own at some point, unless you want to pay the dealership $500-600, and it's really not that hard of a job to do. So I'm going to show you guys how to do this today. Let's get started. Okay, so the valve is under the air box here. So the easiest way to do it is to start by removing this air box. So to remove this, we got to disconnect this connector here and just this 8mm nut on the hose, and take that off. So we'll do that first. You just lift this up, and once you pull this up, push down the tab, and then wiggle that off. Off comes that connector, and then our 8mm socket. And it's not even on that tight. Just disconnect this air hose. This should wiggle off. Okay, so now that that's disconnected, this should lift out as one whole piece. And just up and out. There we go. Okay, so with the air box removed, if you look down in here, you'll see there's your valve. It's got one wire connector. It's going to disconnect that the same way, and it got 3 hoses. First thing we'll do is remove this connector, get it out of the way, and then we're going to put clamps on the hoses, and then we'll take it off from the bracket. So let's do that first. So pull up the red tab, push down on the little tab, and then wiggle it off. Like that. Just tuck it off to the side. Okay, so the next thing we got to do now is clamp the 3 hoses, so that way we don't lose much coolant, if any. So I'm going to try to get some vice grips. If you have hose clamps themselves, you can get those, use those, but we're going to try using some vice grips. And there, clamp that one. Clamp that one. There, all clamped. Okay, so next we gotta get some pliers in here and these hose clamps. We're gonna pinch them and then slide the hoses off the barbs on the valve. It's a little tight, but we'll see if I can get this in here. Let's try this one first, maybe. So work this clamp down the hose. There, now that should be off the barb. Should be able to slide that one off. Of course, nothing's easy. You can feel it starting to come off, but of course, I bet the other ones will be easy. I picked the hardest one to demonstrate. All right, there's one off. That was a pain. So obviously the hoses don't come off very easy, especially if they've probably been on for a long time, if your truck's older like mine. I'm gonna cut away because you get the gist of it from here, but you don't need to catch all my cursing and swearing as I try to work these hoses off the end. So I will cut away and come back with some cinema magic when it's all done. Okay, so little progress update as I work these hoses off. As you know, I got the first one off, which is this one here. The other two are at least this one in particular, is in a real tight spot. So what I've decided to do is take the valve off the bracket, and you can see it's like these two Christmas tree clips, just squish them and then it'll slide off. And now I've pulled the valve up higher, so I have more room to work these hoses. So I'm going to get back to working these hoses off, but this gives me a little bit more room to work these hoses off, because they're stuck on pretty good from the years of being on this truck. So as you can see, I've slid the clips back. This one's starting to come off a bit, but it's still stuck. This one too. So now that I have it in a more open area, I'm gonna get back to working those hoses off. Okay, so I've got the hoses back on, the new valve. I found it easier to get all the hoses on and the clamps before putting it on the bracket. So I had it up here, connect the 3 hoses, work the clamps into position, keep the tabs up so next time it's easier for removal if I have to do it again. And then from there, now you see there's the 2 Christmas tree tabs. They'll just clip into this bracket here. So when you remove the old one, you just compress them, it slides out. And the same thing, I'm just going to push them in and it'll click in and it'll be done. There. Clipped in place. Hoses, there you go, sorry. Hose is on, clipped in place. See it right down here. And I'm just going to put the wire connector back on. And that should be it. So now I'll reinstall the air cleaner, which will just be the opposite of the removal. Slide it in place, the 8mm clamp and the wire connector, and then we'll reset the engine code and I'll show you that. Okay, so now I'm in the truck. If you haven't seen my review on the Blue Driver device, you should. But I am now going to pair with it and reset the engine code. I'll throw up a little card in the corner there so you can find this video on how this device works after. It's basically a Bluetooth OBD2 code reader, but this is a really good one compared to a lot of the other DIY ones on the market. So anyways, right now it's pairing. Now this code would clear itself in theory from driving, but I'm just going to clear it manually right now. So read codes. We'll do all system modules. Takes a few minutes. Okay, so there we go. Engine coolant bypass valve stuck open. What else we got here? Yeah. All right, let's deal with this here. So clear that code. The permanent one will clear while driving. Powertrain engine coolant bypass valve. Clear that. So that's it, and you'll see here, that one will clear on its own. So I'm going to now exit the app. I'm going to go for a test drive, and we'll see how it goes. Alright guys, there you have it. That's the 3-way coolant valve replacement, resetting the code, and swapping out the valve. As you can see, like on my truck, maybe it was because I had the oil cooler go before, and it really got those hoses stuck on, but that's just something you're going to have to figure out how you deal with it. I found it was easier to take the Christmas tree clips out, lift the hose or the valve a little higher, and then work with it in that open space where the air box was. You were able to really get in there, twist the hoses, use a screwdriver a bit, and get them off. You'll find out what works for you, but that's essentially the process. Remove the air box. That's held on with that the 8mm socket, the clamp, and then there's the I think it's the mass airflow sensor there. Disconnect the 3-way coolant valve, the power to it, the wiring, then remove the hoses, put the new valve in its place, reclip the hoses, plug in the wiring, put the box back in, and then reset any codes, or just drive, because that's a code that'll reset itself. I just have the tool to do it, and I reset it. And did my test drive, and it didn't come back on. So whatever you want there. If you haven't seen the video on the Blue Driver, that's something you should check out if you have 1996 or newer vehicle. As you can see, it's a pretty handy tool, and I really get into the features in that video. You just saw a quick demo of it there. That's it for this one, guys. If you have any questions on this repair or anything else, throw it in the comments section below. Remember to give it a thumbs up if you like it. Follow me on Instagram, Vic's Garage, and subscribe if you haven't. Till the next one, guys, take it easy. See you then.